This is just a reminder to anyone who needs to hear it, especially if you were raised as a woman. You don't have to do that. You probably don't have to do that, whatever that is. I mean, maybe you do. Maybe you do. But one of the biggest parts of my own decentering men, deconstructing patriarchy, healing, blah, blah, blah journey was realizing that I don't have to do a lot of the things I thought I had to do. I'm not obligated to a lot of people that I just assume I'm obligated to. I don't have to please a lot of people that I thought I have to make happy, right? So we're gonna go over another example of that, of the column of a column. What the hell, Mel? Or you got Mel, or go to Mel. Oh gosh, there's so many. I still can't decide one of those. And before we get into it, please join my Patreon. That is where I update you with all kinds of stuff. We are leaving for Greece for this big family vacation that we have been planning and saving for and stressing out about in a good way for months and months and months and months. And I get to see my American family after a couple years, some of them. So if you want to see like some travel content, healing, creativity, all this stuff, and my lives, I have a live coming up with the author of Uncultured, New York Times bestseller. I have another live coming up probably in August, don't have the date yet, with one of Larry Nassar's victims' lawyers. I just have so much cool stuff, so please go check out my page. Even if it's just the free tier, you'll get updates. Anyway, okay, so let's get into it. So this one's for Dear Abby. Y'all know I cover a lot of different columns. Dear Abby is not a woman of many words, so I probably will have something to add to this. But Dear Abby, I feel guilty for not including friend in my wedding party. I haven't read this in days. I kind of forget the whole deal with it. But I do remember coming away from this thinking, why do you feel you have to do this? Let's get into it. Okay. Dear Abby, I was asked to be the maid of honor in a friend's wedding. Now, I can tell you right there, a lot of people are offended when they're not asked to be a bridesmaid or the maid of honor. Anyone who has done this enough times is like, please don't make me be a bridesmaid. Definitely not the best. Do you know how much work this is? This is like a full-time job for maybe a whole year that's unpaid and often sometimes not appreciated. I have never had to be that person in a big massive wedding, but it sounds like a nightmare based on what I've heard from a lot of people. And a lot of times this kind of thing even causes like friend breakups and stuff because so much happens within family, friends, whatever, especially if you don't like the guy. So this is a big deal. Being the maid of honor is a big old job, depending on what kind of wedding it is and how your relationship to them. I did not consider us to be close friends. That's right. This is weird. Being the maid of honor to someone that you don't feel like you're very close friends with is, I don't think I would do that. Well, it depends on the wedding. But again, that's a lot of work. But she has no sisters. And you know what? That's a good point. I do feel very lucky that I have a sister and that we're very close, although she couldn't come to my wedding because of the borders were closed for over a year. And it happened in summer of 2020 in a tiny little whatever. I think it's kind of good that on some level, people not being able to come was a blessing in disguise. As much as I wanted my family there, especially my sister and my nieces and all that, it also meant it was like very simple. So, you know, there's positive and negative to being able to just invite whoever you want, whether because you just have a ton of friends and the finances, the money to pay to feed all those people and all the other stuff. But there's also, and I've heard this in my comments a lot of several people who follow me, you know, had very simple, like inexpensive weddings and used that money for something else, which is kind of the route we took. But also, even if we wanted a big wedding, we couldn't have had it because of COVID restrictions and, you know, limited finances at the time. And also, my wedding, of course, included camping. I mean, duh. You're lucky they got me in a white dress. I wasn't even going to do that. And then I got period blood all over it because the diva cup runneth over, if you didn't know that story. Anyway, not having sister, And some people have sisters, and the sisters, they hate each other, so this isn't even a guaranteed. But I understand that not having sisters, but few girlfriends. I don't know why that is. Maybe they haven't centered relationships. Maybe they're just kind of more of a loner. I don't know. Could be a lot of reasons for this. But anyway, it would be weird to be someone's maid of honor in this situation, but at the same time, like, good on you for being willing to do that. That shows a lot of, oh God, dog hair. By the way, Moses at Grandma and Grandpa's house. He's living his best life up in the little village, but I miss him already. I'm always convinced he's gonna die when I don't see him. God. Yeah. Anyway, she seemed desperate and told me I was the only one who could fit this role, so I obliged. That's a very, again, I don't think I could do this, but good for you for, if you have a big heart like that and you really, and it depends on how close you are. I mean, obviously, I guess maybe you're not even close friends, but she asked, I don't know. Anyway, if you can do it and want to do it, then, like, people like this in the world are great, as long as they're not like sacrificing themselves too much that they become like bitter and resentful over doing too much. Anyway, now it's my turn to be the bride. I have other girlfriends I'm closer to that I would like to ask to be my bridesmaids. I feel guilty for not returning the favor. Okay, so this is where we need to stop doing things because we feel like okay, I know that there's like unspoken rules and just like returning favors and being thoughtful, but like this is a nuanced conversation. But it's not your fault that this woman that you were the maid of honor for didn't have friends. It's not your fault. And think of how you might sacrifice some of your own friendships with really close friends because this random chick you're not even that close to gets a spot, and like, yeah, no. Here we go. She's invited to the wedding, but I don't want her to be in my wedding party. You do not have to have her in your wedding party. Nope. I also feel awkward having to tell her that she isn't as close to me as the other girlfriends I want. I don't know if you need to say that. Like, there's a way to say that without saying, like, you're not as close to me. I don't know. What do y'all think? I think she could just invite her and just say, I don't know. Like, do you even need to address this? I don't know. If that person assumes that they have earned the right as your maid of honor, even though maybe you have sisters and a lot of good friends, like, surely this woman knows this because she knew she invited you out of desperation to be that. I don't even know. I feel like this woman's sense of awkwardness is all coming from within her and maybe not even coming from the friend. And that's a lot of my problems come down to that. I assume people think that I have to do things that they never thought I had to do. The call is coming from inside the house. How do I let her down gently without hurting her feeling? Love, not close in the West. Dear not close in the West, you are feeling guilty? Abby. Having served as this woman's maid of honor does not obligate you to have her be part of your own wedding. A way to let her down gently would be to not mention the subject at all. Okay, I agree with that. Like, yeah, why do you have to say, hey, the reason why you're not this is because you're not as close to me as all these other, like, that seems like that's unnecessary information that may actually hurt her feelings. I'm telling y'all, I feel like I have to explain so many things that I don't need to explain. Sometimes I should explain things for context, for nuance, to be thoughtful. But other times, like, I am over-explaining myself in ways that actually end up being rude or not thoughtful or somehow causing more harm. When I was trying to, like, soften something, I actually end up making it worse because of that. If she brings it up, explain that you invited her because you want her there to share in your happiness, period. Well, that's it. That's all Abby has to say. Abby, Sometimes you give the worst advice and sometimes you give really good advice, but you never really say much. I'm going to add a little bit more to this. Abby is so few words to say. I'm going to add a few screenshots I took of people who had stuff to add. This was on the Book of Faces. I'm the only one who was relieved when I wasn't asked to be in a wedding. It's expensive and time consuming, and I have never worn any of that's true. Any of those dresses, again, despite being told I love them. But my daughter did enjoy them in her toy box. You could always include her by having her perform a reading at the wedding. That's a good idea. If you feel that bad, let go of the guilt. You're not even that close to her. You don't have to explain anything. She only asked you because she didn't have anyone else. Being in someone, oops, sorry, I cut that off. So I want to add to this because, oh man, there's like so much. It feels like there's all this like weird stuff around weddings. It also depends on the bride. Their ideas around weddings, their ideas, like their relationship with their family, because sometimes if you are, from what my understanding, I never personally ran into this, but I've heard many stories from people I know that, sometimes like the mother of the bride or the other bridesmaids or like the groom or somebody makes that maid of honor's life so unnecessarily hard. And there are so many big emotions at weddings. Especially if that bride comes from a family of like divorced parents who hate each other, or they're still married and hate each other, or just like whatever. They're like family stuff, big events has like so much emotion, so much drama can happen. So you signing up to be like her point person, number one, means you may be doing a whole lot of emotional labor and like putting out fires and all kinds of stuff that you didn't even know you were signing up for. And then, like that other lady said, there's the dress issue. One of the things, and this actually is not about weddings, this is about just friendships in general. The financial stuff gets in the way of friendships. I have struggled with this a lot. I mean, most of my friends are, not most, a lot of my friends are more artsy and whatever, and are like, just getting by, don't own homes or any of that stuff. Like, are just paying their bills, trying to do the thing they love. But then some people that, I went to college with, or just from like, if I go back home and see friends from high school, I'm like, oh my God, y'all are loaded, or any people like that I've worked with throughout the years, or anyone from my comedy life or anything. Like some of them, I'm just like, you like we do not live in the same world. And so sometimes like trying to do something together with someone, it's like, oh right, like I don't drink, I don't like, one of the reasons why I'm able to live a pretty good life as an artist is because I don't spend money on things that just like a lot of people spend money on. I don't drink, that alone. Every time I go out, I don't spend any money. I drink water. Where everybody else is spending like $12 a drink. People will throw down $50, $100 easily at the bar, and I come away $0 every time. Maybe like a club soda. And even when I go out to dinner with friends, like I used to not eat anything, and that's weird. Here in France, that would not fly. So I order food, but I usually order because my budget is very tight. I like to do things where I can be a part of something, not miss out entirely, as long as it's within reason, but also like do it in a very Melanie way, because again, I don't want to spend a lot of money on food. I will buy food to experience being out with you, but I'm not going to buy dessert. I'm not going to buy drinks. I'm not going to buy the most expensive thing. I'm just going to just share food, but like whatever. There's also, I can be like way too crazy about this too. And so that's just how it is in general. And so a lot of times I have to say no to things, like a girls trip where they're going somewhere and I'm like, yeah, I don't have like 500 extra bucks or $1,000 to just throw down on something. I don't want to miss out, but I didn't budget that, so I'm not going to go. Like just learning what to say yes and no to, because you don't have the same budget as some of your friends. Like that's already hard to navigate. When you throw a wedding into this, like there's like, there's like a girls trip. There's now they have what is it? out of town weddings, you know, like dream locate, what is it called? I forget the word. I'm not going to stop this video to look up the word. Destination wedding. Yes. You know, destination wedding, which means like time off from work. And I've never had a paid vacation day in my entire life, except for that one year I was a teacher in Spain. Because, you know, Spain gives vacation and whatever. But other than that, I've never had a paid vacation or paid sick day. So if I take time off, I am literally losing money. Plus the dress, if you make me buy a silly dress that I will never wear again, sometimes they're beautiful, but usually not. Come on. Are people really wearing these dresses again? Let me know, because from my understanding, you never wear that dress again, ever. Even if it's beautiful, you just don't have a reason to or whatever. I also just like don't wear dresses very often in general. And then there's like, if you go to this destination wedding, and then there's the hotel, there's like the food, if you go out to, and it's like everything, like it is very isolating experience to not be on the same budget as the friends that you're with. And you don't want people to like pay for you, and you don't want to like make anyone feel weird. So you kind of like try to go fly under the radar, you know? And you're always like, hey, if you guys are all going to split the tab, but I didn't drink anything. So I actually had like $10 worth of food, and y'all had $70 worth of food. Like, I'm just gonna do my own thing. So it's like, it's always like just kind of weird and awkward sometimes to navigate that, but at the same time, I'm not paying for someone else's drinking. You know what I mean? Now, other times I have just given in and been like, whatever, whatever. I'm not like super strict about this, but if you add a wedding into this, time off work, unpaid time off work, the dress, the travel, la la la. And then there's also usually like some bride's trip. What is it called? What's it called? Bridesmaid thingy. Here, you know what they call it? In English, it's bury the young girl. Bury the young girl. Like, that's how we're all going to celebrate Melanie getting married, as this is the death of her young girl. I love that. It's so like dramatic and French, and I could do a whole video on that. It is fascinating, honestly. They actually literally, in the villages, they bury a bottle of wine and like pictures or some stuff, and they dig it up when a child, anyway, whole thing. But I didn't do that. We rode our bikes to a lake and hung out. Like, no one, I think $7 to enter the part of the lake that had chairs. $7 for the whole night, you know what I mean? Or the whole day, whatever. So, you know, I try to do the things that I want to do, but within a budget, and also just whatever. But like, I've already done a story about this, I wrote a Washington Post article on this about how I spent all this money going all the way to Vermont to be there for a friend at a wedding that I didn't even want to be at, that I couldn't afford to go to, and that it was all like her, she never pressured me to go. It was all coming from within me. And that's my point of this video. Especially when it comes to weddings, you know, people's feelings get so hurt. People take things so personally. A lot of times, if the bride, especially if she's like marrying somebody who you think kind of sucks, chances are that wedding is really important. Not always, but a lot of times, like, sometimes if a woman is just like, it's my day, it's my day, it's my day, it's because it's like her last day. That is beginning of the rest of her life centering him. Not always, but a lot of times, if it's her day, that to me is a bad sign about the relationship. It should be y'all's day. He doesn't care. He's just like, whatever, tell me what to do. I'll show up and I'll say the vows and I'll smash some cake in your face and maybe even insult you in those vows too. And then it's all about me, baby. It's really hard to pay money to go to a wedding where you can't stand the groom because you're like, I'm going to her funeral, right? Anyway, the point is we feel guilty about things we really shouldn't be feeling guilty about. You don't have to make someone your bridesmaid or even the maid of honor, or especially not the maid of honor, just because you did that for them. Especially when she like knows that it's because you don't have sister or close friends and you was kind of a favor. You don't have to do that. And if you do that because you feel guilty, you are going to, maybe not you, but what old Melanie would do is I would convince myself I need to do this thing because it's the right thing to do and I have to do this thing. And then I'd actually, without even realizing it, punish that person for making me do this thing, right? Maybe I'm passive aggressive, maybe I'm just cold or whatever, and I'm annoyed and I'm taking it out on them, and they never made me do it. They never made me do it. This made me do it. But they never made me do it. Maybe this woman is pressuring her, but I don't even think she is. So the call is coming from inside the house. Another example of how we really need to work on this stuff in here, because it's not just romantic relationships or whatever. Oops. This stuff comes out all over. And the more you self-abandon in order to do things you should do that you don't want to do, the more bitter you get, the more resentful you get, the less you respect yourself, because you know you didn't want to do it. But again, sometimes that pressure is coming from outside, but a lot of times it is all in here. Maybe you have grew up with a narcissist. Maybe it's just patriarchal indoctrination about people pleasing and approval seeking and codependency and taking care of everybody. We don't have to take care of everybody. We don't. I know we're taught to, and we're supposed to, and la la la, but the more you do things that you don't really truly want to do, that don't seem authentic and genuine to you, that's self-abandonment. And it is the groundwork for a big old resentment and being a big old bitch. I'm telling you, I'm not the kind of person who would ever say anything mean, but you could feel it. My sister, some of my friends, they'd be like, "What?" And I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "You're doing that thing again." I'm like, "What?" They're like, "You're clearly mad about something. Say it." No. And it's really confusing for people. So anyway, if you're not sure and you keep thinking you have to do something you don't have, run it by a friend. Run it by a healthy friend, like someone who has, like, you know, doesn't self-abandon. Run it by them. Be like, should I do it? And so she ran it by Abby. You know, and Abby told her what she needed to hear. But this goes beyond just weddings and just beyond little things. These little things add up. These little things add up to us abandoning ourselves, hating ourselves, not respecting ourselves more and more and more. And this is what turns us into bitter, bitter, bitter people, and really not even knowing who we are, because everything we do is based on guilt or some weird sense of obligation. Not even weird. I know where it comes from. And it's kind of a childlike way of operating in the world. For me, what am I supposed to do here? Instead of being like, do I want to do this? No. Should I do this? You know, maybe. How am I going to feel if I do this? I'm going to be pissed. You know, is it the right thing to do? Like, ask myself these questions. Why am I doing this? Is this image management? Am I trying to control this person? Am I trying to get them to like me? Am I trying to avoid conflict or hard conversation? If I'm doing all those things, that's probably not the best reason to do this. Anyway, I don't know if this helps. Let me know if it does. Happy to talk about this more. I can talk about this all day, because self-abandonment, that is my jam, baby. That is the story of my life and the reason why I almost died. Because self-abandonment to an extreme, it will cause you to be in the most messed up situations. And for us, the consequence is often death. Anyway, follow my Patreon. Especially, I'm going to do lots of fun stuff over there while I'm gone. I'll still be posting a lot here. I have to, because it's my job. But anyway, for like travel-y kind of fun stuff, seeing other places and blah, check out over there, because I will do some free stuff and then specific stuff for each tier. Anyway, thanks for being here. Let me know what you think about all this. And voila. Welcome to the comment song, the comment song, the comment song. Welcome to the comment song. Now here's your time. Write something funny or insightful or wise. Say whatever you want, as long as it's not some BS. Your time is about to end. Wrap it up. The comment song is about to end. Wrap it up. That's a new song. I hope you like it. Bye. Et voila.